The issue at stake is how Ukraine can be supported financially. I have allocated €9 billion, $10.5 billion, in each of the 2025 and 2026 budgets, which have been firmly agreed upon and will not be changed, for military support for Ukraine. And we in the German government have made it very clear this military support will continue in the medium-term financial planning. We did indeed discuss various topics that fall within our area of expertise. The issue at stake is how Ukraine can be supported financially. I have allocated €9 billion, $10.5 billion, in each of the 2025 and 2026 budgets, which have been firmly agreed upon and will not be changed, for military support for Ukraine. And we in the German government have made it very clear this military support will continue in the medium-term financial planning. And, of course, we also talked about what might happen if a serious peace process now gets underway. There, too, it is clear that we will continue to support Ukraine. As far as the reconstruction process is concerned, planning is underway. The German government has also taken responsibility in this area, especially the development minister, who has made it very clear that she is steering this process and that we want to support it. And when it comes to equipping the Ukrainian army well and strengthening arms production here in Ukraine, the German government is providing support in many areas. As for the second scenario, that actual talks will now take place, again, we all hope so, but I have serious doubts that Vladimir Putin is serious about this. We will see in the coming weeks, and then the first thing is that decisions are not made over Ukraine's head, but that Ukraine is involved in the negotiations and has a clear say in them. The second thing is that we need a ceasefire. That must be the prerequisite for talks to take place at all, for the killing to stop. And the third thing, of course, is security guarantees. I understand that some people want to go into detail and ask what that means in concrete terms. But we are still at the very beginning of these talks, and they need to be held now. What is clear, however, is that in the end, the security guarantees must be structured in such a way that Putin never again has the idea of attacking Ukraine, that Ukraine can defend itself, and that Ukraine is so strong that such steps will no longer be taken.
Now, we all know, I have no illusions about it, and by this week at the latest, no one should have any illusions about how profound and far-reaching the challenges we face are. We are now in the third year of a recession, and we must get out of this recession. Dear friends, I say this quite self-critically, this task is greater than some might have imagined a year or so ago. We are not only in a cyclical downturn. We are in a structural crisis of our economy. At the moment, we are not keeping pace with developments in the world. We are no longer the leading industrial nation that the world looks to. We are a country that has a structural growth weakness. We are no longer truly competitive in large parts of our economy. And this is a matter of price competitiveness. The quality is still there. The people, the companies, the management of the companies see this task. But the framework conditions we have for this in Germany have simply been for years, and not just for 3 or 4, but actually for an entire decade, and they are not good enough anymore. The productivity of our economy has been lagging behind international standards for 10 years. And we need to change that. These location conditions must become competitive again. It is also true that we have changed things in migration policy. Economic policy and migration policy are the two issues that concern the people in our country. And rightly so. In migration policy, we have committed to setting a new course from day one. And we did it on the first day. Alexander Dobrindt, the new Federal Minister of the Interior, on the first day in office, instructed the federal police to tighten controls at Germany's borders. And now, don't let yourselves be confused by numbers, the wrong numbers. The fact that perhaps only 500 or 600 rejections have occurred is not crucial. What is crucial is the political signal that the Federal Republic of Germany has turned off the magnet, that one only has to come to Germany, and once here, can stay permanently. That has been the crucial point. We are currently at the lowest level of asylum applications since 2013. So we have basically fundamentally corrected what went wrong in the last 10 years. The number of initial applications has decreased from over 140,000 last year to now 70,000 in the first half of 2025. And I tell you, that is still too many. 15% tariffs are truly no help for the German economy. But to enter a really deep trade conflict, a trade war with the United States of America, that could have led to an even much worse outcome. Now we at least have a somewhat manageable agreement with the Americans. But what is the conclusion from this? The conclusion is important from my point of view in two respects. First, we as the European Union need to become stronger, more confident, and more independent. We are too dependent on Russian gas and oil. We have been too dependent on America for our security.
Das ist das Entscheidende gewesen.
And we are too dependent in our economy, for example, on countries like China. The only possible consequence is that we are now working very hard to become more independent in terms of economic policy, trade policy, and security policy, and to ensure that we are taken seriously in this world and do not become a pawn but rather a player ourselves in the world. That must be the goal we need to achieve together now. And look at what we did at the NATO summit in The Hague. We even changed the basic law between the two governments and enabled the largest defense expenditures we have ever had in the history of the Federal Republic of Germany in that amount now. We must also become the party that unequivocally
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the U.S. will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry guards.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.